Christmas cards, candy, wall hangings, and lingonberries. Each time he'd then reinvest the money into more goods to sell, making more and more profit each time. Seeing his entrepreneurial attitude for buying and selling, Ingvar's father gave him a small loan.
Alright guys, as promised, this is the continuation of the series on how to edit like MagnatesMedia using CapCut PC. So with this series, I'll be dropping one video on that. It can be in the beginning of the month or towards the end of the month. So always make sure you are on the lookout for that. Alright guys, let's get started. So we have all the files on this side. First of all, let's set the project settings. Go to modify, aspect ratio. We're going to choose 16:9. It's a YouTube format. Frame rate, I'm going to go for 24 frames. Then make sure you turn on arrange layers. We're going to use a lot of layers for this edit, and this is going to make your life easy. Then go to performance. I'm going to leave it on proxy. Make sure you turn it on and 720 so we don't slow down our machine. Then click on save. So I'm going to bring this background image, drag and drop in the timeline. And I'm going to provide you guys with these images. I created them on Microsoft Bing, it's free. And then I used their editor to cut out some of the images like this one. If you want to see a video on that, you can drop a comment down below. So with this image, I'm just going to increase it to fill the whole timeline since it's not in that format. So I'm going to go for somewhere 220 in the size, and then I'm just going to drag it down a bit to this side. We're going to work on this background later on, but first let's bring in the boy that we're going to use. This is the boy. I got it from the same Microsoft Bing. I'll leave the link down there below. You can download and use it and practice along. So let's make it the same length. I think the length we can increase it more. So let me go for 15 seconds in the timeline for both of them. And before we start animating with the boy, let's bring in some dust. I'm going to provide you guys with this one too. Link will be down there below. Let's just drag and drop on top of all of them. It's going to affect all of them. Then go to the right side, scroll down, click on blend mode. Let's change it to screen. So we'll take the black background out. So when you look at the dust, it looks kind of too fast for my liking. So I'm going to slow it down. Go to speed, and I'm going to go to somewhere 0.7 so it will slow down on the screen when you look at it carefully. Now let me just cut off this side. We don't need that. So it will be the same length as all of them. And now with this dust, when you look at MagnatesMedia, it has this kind of chromatic effect to it. So we're going to do the same thing. Go to effect, and I'm going to have it under my favorites, but you can search somewhere down here to find it, or you can search on this side. So I'm going to use chrome blur. Just drag and drop on this very one. And when you look at it, it has this blur and also this chromatic effect to it. So with the blur, I don't really need it with this one, so I'm just going to turn it down. And when you look at it, it separates the colors. That's the red, green and blue. So we're going to take it down to somewhere 51, so it will give us that cool look to the dust. So now let's start animating the boy. And as you can see, because we turn on the free layers, it's going to place everything nicely on the screen for us. So with the boy, let's take it to the first frame of it. Take your playhead there. Then let's make a keyframe on transform. We want to lock everything. Then go 80 frames forward. When you use the shift and arrow forward, it's going to go 10 frames ahead. Then let's lock another keyframe on that side. Now let's use this arrow to go to the previous keyframe we set. Let's increase the size a bit. Let's take it down to somewhere here. So when you go to the next keyframe, it's going to zoom in on the screen. Let's increase that to a bit and place him a little bit down this side. So now we'll just play and see how it looks like. We don't want it to be moving too fast, and we want it to look like it's coming slowly and it's moving backwards on the screen. We're going to create another animation for the boy to disappear on the screen. Take your playhead to the second keyframe we created. Then let's go somewhere 30 frames forward. And this time around, we're just going to take the boy down to disappear on the screen. So when you look at it, it goes back and then from here it's just going to disappear on the screen. Now we need to make that smooth. Press that Option K to bring the keyframe graphs out, and we're going to start with the scale. Click on that. Let's click on the second point. Let's change it to auto curve, and click on the first point and change it to auto curve. Now when you look at it, when it dropped, it was on the Y axis, so let's just click on Y, click on this side to bring it out, and it only affects on this very side of the keyframe. So let's just change that point to auto curve too, and then we'll play and see how it looks like. Now it looks pretty smooth. Click on that Option K to collapse that keyframe animation. And now we need to play with the background to give this cool 3D kind of look to it. So with that, we're going to take our playhead to the beginning frame or the first frame of it. Make sure you select the background image. Go to your right side, make a keyframe on transform. Then let's click on this boy. We want to take our playhead to somewhere in the middle of these two keyframes. Then click on the background image, and let's make another keyframe on transform. And this time around, we're just going to take it to somewhere 205. We just want to reduce the size of it a little bit, so it will give us that cool look of the movement at the background and also this very boy. And we don't want it to be moving the same pace. So when you can see, the background moves a bit slower. Now let's make the background smooth, and I'm going to be fast on that. Now we're going to bring in these 4 images on the side. Let's go to our import, and I already have all of them here. So I'm going to start with the holiday card. I'm just going to bring it on top of it for now. Let's stretch it and make it the same length as all of them. And we want this dust to affect everything in the timeline. So I'm going to take it and place it behind this very boy. But first of all, let's just take it up, sorry guys, and let's work on the card. Go to mask, click on rectangle, and let's just cut off the unwanted part out. So now it looks cool. Click on basic, and let's reduce the size of it. Now we can place it below this very boy image. So it's going to come behind this very boy. And one thing I forgot to do, let's take our playhead here and let's work on this image. Go to effects. We're going to add the same chrome blur effect to it. Drop on it, and when you look at it, let me delete it and show you guys, and look at it carefully. When we drop on it, it adds this cool look to it, and I think Magnet was using this kind of effect. I'm going to take the blur a bit down, and then the chroma, I'm just going to take it to somewhere 47. So if you want it to be more, you can move down more, but this I just want it to be somewhere 45 on the screen. And still with the paper, I think I can do something to it, so let's work on that. Go to adjustment. Let's make it a bit warm to make it look a bit old. Then scroll down and let's add fade to it. Now let's animate that very card. So we're gonna go 5 frames forward. Take your playhead to the beginning frame, then go 5 frames forward, and let's move the card to that side. So we want the card to start coming in from this side when the boy is already moving backwards. With the card selected, go to your right side, click on video. Let's make a keyframe on transform, and then go 20 frames forward, and always make sure it goes with whatever video or edit you are doing, so it will match with the vibe. It doesn't have to be exactly the keyframe intervals I'm using here. So right on that side, I'm going to drop another keyframe on transform. Then this time around, I'm just going to move it to this side on the screen and rotate it this way. And I think the size, it's too big, so I can still work on the size. So let me go to somewhere 20, or let's go for somewhere 24. And make sure the previous keyframe also stays at 24. We don't want to change the size of it for now. So when you look at it, it's going to rotate a bit on the screen. Now we're going to make that smooth. Click on that, Option K, bring graphs out. And it was X and Y, so click on X, click on this space, click on this keyframe, change to auto curve, click on this, change to auto curve. Let's check on Y too. Click on that, auto curve, click on that, auto curve. Now Option K to collapse that. And now when you look at Magnet Edit, he was editing in a 3D space and we don't have that space. So we're going to make it look like we are editing in 3D space, because when you look at here, the boy is moving back. So the size of this needs to change since the camera is pulling back and everything is moving backwards on the screen. So I'm going to show you the trick we're going to use. When you click on the boy's image, this is the second keyframe when the boy totally moves backwards or reduce size on this. So we're going to make a keyframe on this very card image, click on that, and then we're going to make a keyframe on scale. So the beginning of the scale size is going to be 24, but this we're going to take it to somewhere 22 or 21. And make sure, let me show you guys, click on this very arrow, it's going to take us to the middle keyframe, and then we're going to delete the keyframe on scale. So the scale is going to continue on this side. I hope that makes sense. Now we're going to bring in the second image. Go to import, and I'm going to use this very poster card, drag and drop on top of holiday card. Let's stretch it and make it the same length as all of them. And before that, let's just work on cutting it out and making it clean. So go to mask, click on rectangle, and let's just increase it to cut off the unwanted part. Click on basic, and let's just reduce the size of it. So that is going to start coming in when this card, holiday card image, is almost on the screen. So I'm going to take my playhead, this is the second keyframe when it comes fully on the screen. Then I'm going to go somewhere 4 frames backwards, and then I'm going to drag this beach nut poster card to that side. With that selected, drop a keyframe on transform to lock all the transform keys. Now let's go 20 frames forward, and then we're just going to move this to this side on the screen and rotate it a bit to this side and place it this side on the screen. And we were supposed to make it 20 frames. I made it 10, so I'm going to correct that. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm just going to go 20 frames and move it to that side. And now when you play, it comes in slowly to this side. And before we make the animation smooth, let's do the same thing just like the 3D space. Click on the boy's image. Let's go to the second image on this side. I think we can drop a marker, press M, and it's going to drop a marker on this side, so it's going to guide us along the way. And if you want to see video on how to use markers, I'll leave a card up here. I already did a video on why you need that. Now let's click on the poster card, and let's reduce the size of it to somewhere 46. So when you look at it, when it's going back, it's also going to move back in that 3D space. Now let's make it smooth. Option K, let's start with the scale, click on that, this point, change to auto curve, and change this to auto curve, and do for X and Y, and I'll be fast on this side. Now Option K to collapse that, and I'm gonna bring in another image. We're gonna bring this wallpaper image, let's drag and drop on top of this beach nut. Just like we did previously, take your playhead to this very second keyframe on this, then go 4 frames backwards, and let's drag our wallpaper on that side. Let's make it the same length as all of them. And with the wallpaper selected, let's just reduce the size of it. And before we continue, I forgot to add effect to this very beach nut, so I'm gonna do that. Click on that, go to effect, drag chroma blur on top of it, reduce the blur, and let's take this to 45. Now let's go back to wallpaper and do the same with that. Chroma blur, let's drag and drop on it. Let's reduce the size of it, and let's take this to somewhere 45. So with that one selected, we've already placed it 4 frames before this very beach nut second keyframe. Select the wallpaper, make a keyframe on transform, then go 20 frames forward, and we're gonna move it to this side on the screen. I think the size is too big, so let's go back. Let's go to the previous keyframe. Let's reduce the size a bit more to somewhere 35. Then let's go 20 frames forward, and we're gonna move it to this side on the screen and rotate it a bit like this on the screen. Just like we did for the previous ones, let's go to this very marker, click on the wallpaper, and then with the scale size, we're just going to change it, or let's drop a keyframe on all of them to lock it, and then we'll change the size to somewhere 33. And now I'm going to make the animation smooth, and I'll be fast on that. Now we're going to bring in one last image, go to import, let's bring in our grapes and drag and drop on top of this wallpaper. Let me stretch it to this side, and just like we did for the previous ones, let's just reduce the size of it. Then go to effect, chroma blur, let's drag and drop on it. Let's take the blur down a bit, and then chromatic, let's take it to somewhere 45. Now let's click on this wallpaper, take to the second keyframe, and let's go back somewhere 5 keyframes. Drag the grapes to that side. Now we're going to animate the grapes to make a keyframe on transform, then go 20 frames forward, and we're going to move the grapes to this side and rotate it a bit to something like this. And automatically it's going to drop a keyframe on position and rotate. Then just like we did for the rest of them, let's take our playhead to this very marker, click on the grapes, and then the size or the scale, let's take it to somewhere 32. Now I'm going to make the animation smooth, and I'll be fast on that side. So now we have something like this. Everything comes out nicely. Now time in to bring in the money behind this very boy image. When it goes down, go to import, scroll down, and I'm going to use this 1 krona from, I think, Sweden currency. Let's drag it below or behind the boy. Click on that, and it comes with this green side. I don't like it, so I'm going to cut that out. But first of all, let me just reduce the size of it, and then I'm going to use the mask tool. Click on rectangle and increase that to select the part that I want. Then click on basic, and now let's just reduce the size a bit to something like this. And I want it to be really in the dead center. Now when you look at the money, we're going to add some cool effects to it. First of all, let's go to effect. We're going to start with the chrome blur. Let's drag and drop on it. Let's reduce the blur a bit to 10. And then let's take chromatic to 45. Now we're going to add another one. I'm going to add luminance. Let's drag and drop on it. We want it to brighten a bit. Filters, I'm going to go down. Strength, I'm going to go down. Rotate, I'm going to go down. Now let's make the money a bit more green, just like the trick we've been using on this channel. Make sure you click on the money, go to adjustment, click on curves. Let's scroll down. On the green curves, let's bump it up a bit more. So if you want to add more greens, you can go more, but I think with this I can go to somewhere here. So now we have our money nicely on the screen. Let's stretch it and make it long for now. So we're going to start the animation of the money when the boy is moving away from the screen. So when you look at it, this is the keyframe for that boy image when it's moving away from the screen. We're going to take it there, and we're going to be playing around it to get the effect really nicely. But first of all, let's click on the money, click on video, make a keyframe on transform. Then let's go somewhere 40 frames forward, and let's drop another keyframe on transform, and we're going to rotate the money a bit to something like this. So with this, you can go with your creative choice and rotate it anyhow you want to do it. It doesn't have to be exactly like MagnatesMedia. So I'm going to go for something like this, and now look when it goes out on the screen. And with the curves, I'm going to work on the curves a little bit. Option K to bring the keyframe graphs out, and mostly we were moving only the rotate, so we're going to click on rotate and work on that. Click on this side. Let's click on this first keyframe, change to auto curve, click on the second one, change to auto curve, and see how it looks like. And the ending, I want it to be slow, so I'm going to move this side a bit towards to this side so I can slow down the ending when you look at the curves. So it's gonna really slow down before it gets to the position. Let's see how it looks like. I think I can go for more and play and look at it. I think now it looks better. Now I'm gonna close that, Option K to close the keyframe graphs. And now we're gonna bring the animated dashed lines. It was really fun when I was creating this one. So we want the lines to come in when the money is rotating almost in the middle part of it. And we're gonna play this trick with it. So first of all, let's go to our text. Click on that, bring default text in the timeline. Let's make it long. I think we can keep it short because of what we're going to do. We're going to create a freeze frame of it and use that. Now with the text, default text selected, go to the right side. Let's delete that and let's bring in dash few times. And I want it to be really light or thin, so I'm going to go for somewhere a vertical Noah. I like how it looks like it matches with the vibe we're going for. Then we're gonna scroll down and add auto curve to it. And when you look at his edit, he was not adding glow, but if you wanted to add glow to it, you can add it to make it look like your own style. But I'm gonna turn it off for this and maintain just like it is. Now I'm gonna start with this curve and I want it to move from this side. So when the money reach somewhere here, that's where I'm gonna introduce the curve lines. So I'm gonna move it and go for something like this. I think I can curve it more. Let's go to something like this. Let's make a duplicate of this line, dashed line, press Option and drag upwards. Now with the top one, the color, we're gonna change that. So click on this and let's go for somewhere yellow color, or if you want, you can go for somewhere orange color. I think I'll go for this very color and close that. Now let's click on the down one. Click on this, and with the down one, I think I'm gonna go for somewhere teal color, and you can go for any color you prefer to use. I'm gonna show you guys the trick. Now click on the top one. We're gonna turn it into a video format. So Option G to create a compound clip of it so we can get access to the mask effect. Then click on mask, click on horizontal, and let's rotate it to something like this. And let's move it to this side. So when you look at it, it's gonna cut off this part of this yellow and it's gonna reveal this down one, that's the blue one. Now I want it to fade in, so I'm gonna work on that to give me this cool look. I think Magnet was using that, so I'm gonna go for something like this. So it's gonna fade in slowly to this very solid color. Now let's just make a duplicate of it and save it somewhere for now. We're going to use it later on in our edit. And with this, now let's come back to this. Right click on that, select edit and select freeze. Let's delete this side. These are one of the things I wish CapCut could make it easy to create compound clip on compound clip. So it's going to save us much time, but since we don't have that, we're going to be playing this trick with it from time to time. I'm just going to select the tool, Option G to create a compound clip of it. And now I'm going to select an image of it once again because I don't know if I'm going to use it and create a compound clip of that along the way. So I'll save myself a lot of stress. Right click on that, edit, freeze. Now let's delete these sides. We don't need them. We only need this freeze frame. Let's stretch it. Now we want it to be behind this money. So let's drag it below that very layer. And because we've turned on 3 layers, it's gonna save us much time, as I told you guys earlier on. So when the money is rotating to this side, that's where we're gonna introduce the line and we're gonna play this animation trick to it. Let's take the freeze frame of that line to that side. So with that one selected, I'm gonna go to mask, click on horizontal, and then I'm gonna rotate it to take off the line. So this is the line. I'm going to take it off a bit more. With a feather, I think I can increase it a bit to 1. If you want to make it really cool, you can go for 3, but I think Magnet was not really using it, but I just want to make it our own edit style, so I'm going to go for 2. Now let's take our playhead to the starting frame of that very line, then make a keyframe on position and rotate. So we're going to rotate the line to end a bit the same time with the money rotation. So I'm going to click on the money and see where it ends with that keyframe. Then click on the line, and then I'm going to stretch this to reveal the lines on the screen. Now I'm going to play and see how it looks like. Now click on this. Let's make it smooth. Option K, just like we did earlier on, and I'm going to be fast on this side. Option K to close that. Now we're going to bring 3 more to show on this side. So with this one, I think I can flip it and it's going to move exactly with this style. Let me try and see. Press Option, drag upwards to duplicate that. Click on rotate and see how it looks like. So you can see it's going to give us this cool look. Now let's make sure you click on basic, so we'll just be moving these lines, and let's rotate it a bit to how we want it to look like. So I want it to go something like this, and now when I play and see how it looks like, perfect. It makes our life so easy. Now we're going to play one more trick with this and see if it's going to work on this very side. Let's just press Option and make a duplicate once more. Make sure all of them stay below this very money layer. Now with that one selected, let's try mirror effect and see. I think it goes exactly like that. So this is the one that we just placed on this side, and I think for some reason the mask effect is not working, so let's work on that. Click on the mask, let's take it off, and let's bring it in once again. Let's rotate it to wipe it off. Make sure you go to the first frame of it, select that line image, that's the one on this side. Let me see if I rotate it. Okay, so this way, I'm gonna take it this way. Now make a keyframe on rotate and position. Further, I'm gonna take it to 2. Then we're gonna go for the same intervals like this one. So we're gonna take our playhead there, then click on this one, and now let's move the mask, horizontal mask, to reveal the lines nicely like this. And when you look at it, this saves our time. Now let's click on that. I'm going to work on the animation to make it smooth, and I'll be fast on that one. Now I'm going to bring one more here, and when you look at it, we want it to look like it's the same line going down this side. So this very side too, we're going to play the trick on that. Let's see if one of the tricks is going to work. Let me click on the down one, start with that option, and drag to the top side. I want to see what it's going to look like. Let me start with the mirror. Perfect. It makes our life so easy. Now let's work on the mask. I think the mask did also come in nicely. Let me just delete everything on the mask side. Let me start working on that. Click on horizontal. Take my playhead to the starting of that one. This is the one we are working with, remember. Let me wipe everything off. So something like this. Make a keyframe on rotate, position, take further to 2. Then let's move the same intervals like this. So I'm going to take my playhead to this one, then click on this very one, and now I can move the mask to reveal the line, and automatically it's going to drop a keyframe on that. Then I'm going to make the animation smooth, and I'm going to be fast on that side too. Now Option K. And so far, this is what we have, what we've done so far. So now we're going to duplicate all of them and make them appear like it's multiplying 3 times on the screen. So as I said, it's going to have a lot of layers, and we're not creating compound clips yet because we will need it along the way. And this is one thing I wish CapCut could bring that feature in the future. That would be very nice. Did I just rhyme? Okay, so let's start with that. Now we don't need this one, so we're going to delete that, and let's start working on that. Take your playhead to when the money rotates fully on the screen. Let's go 5 frames forward from that. Then we're going to make a keyframe, not on the money. We're going to start with the grapes. Let's click on that. And to make our life easy, let's make a marker on that side. M to drop a marker on that very grape side. So now on the grapes, we're going to make a duplicate of that. Press Option and drag upwards. the beginning side. Let's just trim the beginning side to somewhere here. We just need this part. And I think the marker moved to this side. We don't need it now, so we can just delete this one. We're gonna use this very marker. Now with that grapes selected, take your playhead to where the marker is and let's go to basic under video. Let's make a keyframe on transform, so we'll lock everything there. Then let's go 20 frames forward, and this time around we're just gonna move it to somewhere here on the screen, and let me make it smooth. So I'm gonna press Option K, and I'm gonna be fast on this side since you know how to make curves smooth. Now we're gonna do one more of that. Take our playhead to this side, Option, let's make a duplicate once more of these grapes, and let's take our playhead to the second keyframe of that, and let's just drag that one to this side. So it's gonna multiply 2 times on the screen. Now we're gonna do same trick on this beach nut. Let's click on that, make a duplicate of that, Option, drag upwards. Let's trim the beginning part of it off. We don't need that. And now you remember this marker, that's where the animation starts from. So we take it to that marker, click on the beach nut, make a keyframe on transform. Then go 20 frames forward, make another keyframe on transform. And this time around, I think I'm gonna move it something like this. Now let me make it smooth, Option K, I'll be fast on this side. And let's make one more duplicate of this, Option, drag upwards, let's bring it down. And with the second one, go to the second keyframe of that, and let's move it a bit away from that. So when you look on the screen, it's gonna give us that look. So now I'm going to repeat the same trick on these very 2 images, and I'll be fast for the sake of not making this tutorial very long. So now I'm done with that, and we're going to have something like this. All of them are going to multiply 3 times on the screen. Now we're going to work on the money. It's going to multiply 4 times, all of them rotating on this side. So let's scroll up. You can see we have a lot of layers. We're going to make everything one compound clip later on towards the end of this tutorial. So we take our playhead to when all of them zoom out. Let's take it there. Let me delete this marker, we don't need it now. And take our playhead to the second. This is the second of all of them multiplying 3 times on the screen. Now let's go up, click on the money. That's where we're going to start working on that. Let's make a duplicate of the money, press Option and drag upwards. We want it to be just above the first one. Let's trim the beginning off, we don't need it. So let's take it to somewhere here, and make sure your playhead is on this side. Remember, that's where the second keyframe of all these ones are. Let me go up. With the money selected, let me drop a marker to make our life easy on that side. For now. Then let's click on transform to drop a keyframe on all of that. Then I'm gonna go somewhere 50 frames forward, and this is the first rotate, so I'm just gonna use the on-screen controls and rotate it to somewhere like this. Let me take it here, play and show you guys. It's gonna rotate nicely on the screen. Now everything is getting so complicated, so my machine is already slowing down. Now let's make that really smooth. So click on that, Option K, and I'm gonna work on only the rotate. That's the only thing we change, the parameters we change. So click on rotate, this, auto curve, this, auto curve. Now let's just close that, Option K. Now I'm gonna make duplicate of that once again, and we're gonna do 2 more times, but I'm gonna show you guys slowly. Click on this, Option K, drag upwards, and let's take our playhead to the second keyframe of that one. Let's change it to somewhere here. I think I can go for something like this. And with that one, I want it to be below this very one. This is gonna be our main top one. So let me just bring it 1 layer down. So it's gonna give me that cool look when you look on the screen. So that's the one below, that's the middle one. Now with that one selected, let's make one more duplicate. Let's drag it below all of them. take your playhead to the second keyframe of that. This is the one. This time around we're just gonna move it something like this. And because we've done the keyframe animation, we've smoothed that, it's gonna affect the 3 duplicates that we have. So when you look at it, all of them comes in, it goes, it multiplies, and then it rotates on the screen. Now we are happy with all the animation we have in the timeline, so we can make a compound clip of it. So that's one thing, always make sure you are really okay with everything that's going on before you make a compound clip of it and add some effects, because with CapCut, when we go back, it destroys all the effects that we've added already, and that's one thing I'm begging CapCut to bring that feature in the future. So now I'm going to select all of them. You can just select Command A to select all of them, then Option G to create a compound clip. So when the boy is going down, we want to zoom in a bit on all of them. So let me somewhere here, when he's going down, take my playhead to the compound clip, make a keyframe on that. So when it goes down, I'm gonna zoom in to when the lines are coming on the screen, take my playhead there, make a keyframe on all of them, and then I'm gonna increase the size a bit to somewhere 1.7. Now let me make that smooth, Option K, and it was only scale, so click on that, auto curve, click on this, auto curve. Now Option K to close that. So when all of them are moving on the screen, I'm gonna really zoom in to all of them. So let me just take my player to the second keyframe. When this multiplied 3 times, I'm gonna zoom into that. So I'm gonna take my playhead to somewhere here and really zoom in a bit like this. Now I'm gonna make that smooth a bit, Option K, click on this, auto curve, click on this, already on auto curve. Now we're gonna zoom in slowly to the end a bit. So I'm gonna take my playhead to somewhere here, make sure I select this, make a keyframe on transform, and let's increase the size to somewhere 124 or 125. Then select this and change to auto curve. Now we can close this, Option K. Now we're gonna transition all of them to the next phase. So somewhere here, when they are zooming in, I can take my playhead there and make sure always it goes with whatever you're talking in your video. Let me just trim this side off. And I totally forgot, it's gonna ruin our keyframe. So Command Z, let's click on that and take this keyframe to this side. Now we can trim this side off. Then let's go to import. I'm gonna bring in my second room. This is gonna be the second room. Drag and drop in the timeline. Let me make it really big. We're going to add the transition later on. For some reason, when I add the transition, it's going to slow down my machine, so I'm going to bring in the transition later on towards the end. We're going to bring one man in, one old man. This is the old man. Drag and drop in the timeline. Let me make him the same length as all of them, and I'm going to make a keyframe on that. Let me just zoom in more like this in the timeline. So with the old man selected, make a keyframe on transform. Let's go 50 frames forward. Let's drop another keyframe, and I think this time around we can go down a bit like this and go a bit like this. I think the size we can still increase. Let's go for somewhere 150, and then the beginning I think we can really go up like this, and then we're gonna move the man down. So that's the first keyframe. Make sure you are on the first keyframe. So he's gonna come up very big and then move back. I think we can still play around it to get that effect we're looking for. Now let's play with the curves. Option K, scale. Let's start with that one, and let's go to Y. That was the one we were moving on the Y axis. Let's change to auto curve. Then Option K to close that. We're gonna do the same with the background. Take your playhead there, go to transform on your video side, make a keyframe, intervals just like this. We're gonna take it there, click on this, and let's make a keyframe on transform. Now I can just reduce the background a bit. So I think with the background I can move the keyframe a bit to the side, so it's not gonna end the same as when the man end on the screen. And now we can make that smooth. Option K, I'll be fast on this side. So now the man is on the screen, so I'm going to add a transition to this very image, the two of them. Go to transition, and over here you can use any transition that looks cool to you. Remember, we are not trying to be exactly like Magnate. So here I'm going to use cloud. I've already searched for it, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to use this first one, drag and drop, click on OK. It's going to transition nicely, and then the man is going to come in on the screen. If you want to make the transition very long, you can just stretch it, and it's going to increase the duration on this side too. So this is what we have so far for today.
Candy, wall hangings, and Lincoln berries. Each time he then reinvests the money into more goods to sell, making more and more profit. Seeing his entrepreneurial attitude for buying and selling, Yuva's father gave him a small loan.
Now if you want to see the rest of the series, you can check on this playlist. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.